Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we will continue our series on reviewing every single movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And if you guys have been following along, then today we will be discussing one of the more underrated MCU movies ever made, the fourth movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Thor. After reigniting a dormant war between Asgardians and a being known as the Frost Giants, Thor is banished from Asgard to Earth, stripped of his powers and his hammer Mjolnir. As his brother Loki plots to take the Asgardian throne, Thor must prove himself worthy. Thor is a very interesting Marvel movie to talk about here, because it was honestly like a huge gamble. Iron Man released 3 years prior, and while yes, this was one of Marvel's biggest gambles of all time, the success of Iron Man kind of just proved to audiences that Marvel can make really good, grounded superhero stories. And if Thor is anything, it's definitely not grounded. When you compare the two, Iron Man is a billionaire who makes a suit of armor for himself. Thor is a literal god. Marvel had the tremendous task of making audiences believe that a world such as Asgard, filled with gods and other warriors and creatures, can exist, and honestly, they knocked it out of the park here. This is not one of my favorite Marvel movies, but rewatching it, technically speaking, it's a very good film. We're first introduced to this place, and it's really a wonder to behold here because honestly, I love everything that they do with Asgard in this movie. It really feels like royalty, and it feels like we're transported to an entire different part of the universe, and we are. Anthony Hopkins, he plays Odin. He was casted perfectly. Thor obviously has been played by Chris Hemsworth for the past 15 years now. Amazing casting as well, perfect. Chris Hemsworth really shows a lot of range here. And it's just a little hint of what we would get later down the line with his other movies, because that range is so key for the likability of this character and his portrayal of the character. He nails the comedic bits, he's very good in the dramatic moments, and he also nails that cocky arrogance, which is really the starting point of the Thor character for his character development throughout the entire MCU, not just this movie. Loki, perfect casting as well. Really, every casting in here was nailed. Nobody seems miscast. Kenneth Branagh directed the film, who you may know, who's directed a lot of Shakespearean movies. And you can obviously tell here because the movie is a Shakespearean story. You have this character who way too overconfident and kind of gets put in his place. But in the midst of that, you also have this family drama between Loki and Thor. And that's the real meat of the story here, because those two go on to butt heads for another 12 years, and Loki dies 7 times after that. So the writing here is also very good. I think it's solid, but to be quite honest with you, I liked the writing for the Asgardian characters a lot better than I liked the writing for the Earth characters. Actually, I didn't even like the Earth characters that much at all. I really do like the idea of Thor getting sent down to Earth and having to prove that he's worthy again. It doesn't really capitalize on that idea, but in the end, he does deem himself worthy again, so it got where it needed to go. I just wish that they gave us a little more reason for why he's worthy again, because if the whole reason that Thor got banished is because he was so cocky and arrogant, he was still cocky and arrogant when he got to Earth, and right up before the point that he got deemed worthy again and got his powers back. It's a very small gripe. I mean, I really don't care because the movie itself is still really good. I just think that little part could have been a little stronger too. Let's go back to the direction for a second, because Kenneth Branagh is a good director. I've seen a couple, maybe 3 of his movies or so. He's a good director. One thing that I did not like, and it might even be the cinematographer, but the cinematographer works hand in hand with the director. One thing I did not like about this movie, there are about 170 Dutch angle shots. And if you don't know what a Dutch angle shot is, it's where it's tilted to the side. I know that they're supposed to be telling us that something's off, but there's a fucking 5,000 in this movie. It was really distracting. Also really small. Really small gripe for this movie. But visual effects here are also a lot better than some of the stuff that we've even gotten recently. I mean, the way that the Frost Giants are animated and Thor's powers and everything, it holds up really well for a movie that released in 2011. We'll talk about the ending a little bit too. Thor obviously gets deemed worthy once again. Loki dies. Obviously, he does not stay dead though. He comes back. Okay, he comes back in the post-credit scene. Dr. Selvig is talking to Nick Fury about the Tesseract, which is an Infinity Stone, and it's shown that Loki is taking control of Dr. Selvig. Now Loki has the Tesseract, and it's obviously leading up to Avengers. I cannot wait to review that movie. I think I'm gonna go big for that movie. We'll see. This movie is one of the more important movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because it proved that Marvel can do a lot with storytelling. Thor would have been bad. Nobody would have believed anything else. If Thor would have been bad, we wouldn't have gotten Guardians of the Galaxy. We wouldn't have gotten something like Captain Marvel, or we wouldn't have gotten any of that stuff. They probably would have just stayed with the simpler heroes, you know, straight away from like the gods and stuff like that, because if audiences didn't buy into it, then their whole storytelling bracket was just broken. It worked, and it worked really well, especially for 2011. It just looks really, really good. Let me know what you guys thought about Thor down below in the comment section. I still want to talk about it. I didn't get into everything that I wanted to talk about, so leave your comments down below and we can further the discussion. I want to thank you guys so much for just tuning in and discussing movies with me, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I can't say thank you enough. We are still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022. It is August 9th. If we don't get to 1,000, it's whatever, honestly, but I want to see how close we can get to 1,000 by the end of the year. So if you guys aren't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe down below. Like the video and turn on post notifications so you guys can, number one, show your support, and number two, never miss another video. I'm making movie related content like crazy this year. You guys don't want to miss anything that I put out. I make content like this all the time. Stay tuned next week because we get to talk about Captain America. That's all the time I got for you guys. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Follow me on TikTok, Twitter, do all that stuff. It's going to be down below in the description. Other than that, yeah, I have nothing else to say to you. All right, take care guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.